Welcome back to the Mask of Fear, your one-stop shop for all things Halloween, horror, Star Wars, and more. I'm Sean. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your Friday to sit down with us and talk about Crystal Lake, Jason Voorhees, and a few other topics. So let's dive into it. Our question for this video is, who is your favorite Jason Voorhees actor? Comment down below and maybe leave a reason as to why they are your favorite Jason Voorhees actor. My personal favorite is Derek Mears, and I was very lucky to be gifted a autographed picture from Derek, or by Derek from Randy on the channel. So much appreciated to Randy. I want to start off with this. Hulk Hogan passed away yesterday, which, there's conflicting feelings behind it. And, I get it. The man, the person, Terry Bollea, said some really shitty things. And you should never openly or even behind doors be a racist. It's a horrible look. It's a horrible look not apologizing properly or taking any accountability for it. And, he has to, that it's tarnished his legacy. But make no mistake, Hulk Hogan's impact on the professional wrestling industry is bigger than any one wrestler. I may not have liked the guy. Personally, I may have not even liked him as a wrestler. But when you're talking the most famous wrestlers of all time, no one has put a stamp on professional wrestling in the ring like Hulk Hogan is. So I will say our thoughts are with his family and his friends. And while I wish he didn't tarnish his legacy, you never wish death on someone, and it's truly unfortunate. Also, before we get into all this golden Crystal Lake stuff, let's talk a little bit about video games. Hellraiser is getting a video game by Saber Interactive. We talked about it a little bit on the show the other day. I think the game looks great. I think cinematically it looks spectacular. The story has me intrigued. We don't know if it's in-engine gameplay that we've seen, but they showed some gameplay at the end of that trailer, and I liked what I saw. It's good news for, again, you can see anything in a trailer and think it's good, but until you get your hands on it, it could be utter dog crap. But if it is good, it's good news for the Star Wars Revan / Knights of the Old Republic remake that Saber Interactive is in charge of, that hopefully we get one day, that, as days pass here, it becomes less and less likely. But if they do a good Hellraiser game, then I'm on board. What I'm frustrated about, though, is most Halloween fans want an original story game, something that tells a new Halloween story on game. I'm sure they would like some multiplayer aspects with that as well, but the mass majority of people that I talk to aren't looking for another asymmetrical horror game. They certainly aren't looking for another asymmetrical horror game from Gunn, and it's unfortunate because I think Halloween's a far more deserving franchise for a story-driven game with multiple outcomes and multiple story directions, with maybe a soft online mode, than Hellraiser is. They're a far more deserving franchise, and they're not going to get it. The Hellraiser, with the return of Clive Barker, is going to get that type of game. And as a Halloween fan, I have to admit, I'm a little jealous. That's what I want. Selfishly, I want that. I feel like Halloween fans deserve that. We've waited long enough for a game, and instead we're going to get an asymmetrical horror game, which could still be fun. My hopes aren't completely dashed on that. Looking forward to it and possibly doing content on the channel for it whenever it comes out. But Hellraiser fans are eating good tonight. All right. So Crystal Lake has cast an adult Jason Voorhees. His name is Zachary Branch. He is not a big fella. Most places list him at 5'9", 5'10". So a couple, 2-3 inches shorter than the shortest Jason actor to date. But the interesting thing here that strikes me is, if you've watched our live show, which, by the way, you can catch live each and every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We usually run from anywhere from 90 minutes to 2.5 hours, covering all things Halloween, horror, Star Wars, and more. Um, we've talked about in recent weeks how we heard that there will be a massive cast changeover at the end of season one or the beginning of season two. Looks like that might actually happen at the end of season one. And that the plan has always been for this series to introduce Jason Voorhees as an adult, as a killer, later on in the series. Specifically, the end of season one or season two is what we've been talking about. And now we get confirmation that Zachary Branch will be your new Jason Voorhees actor. There's going to be people that criticize this. The guy's not big enough. He should be taller. He should be, have more muscle. He should look more menacing. Until you see this guy in costume, until you see the tone of the show, which I think a lot of people are getting wrong from what we've heard, you can't judge it. You know, the old saying, don't judge a book by its cover. I've read tons of great books that have terrible covers. And, that might not be the best analogy, but I think people need to be open to what's going on here. This is an A24 and Peacock-driven project. And while I do like, a handful of the Friday the 13th movies, I have a lot of love for them, I dislike more than I like. I think it's a B-class horror franchise. Maybe not in terms of marketing and the way that Jason Voorhees is a public figure, but in terms of the movies, they're half of them are quality of B movies. They're not particularly good. The acting in them is quite terrible. The tone is campy, and while I think you're going to get a little bit of that campiness vibe or a camping vibe, I think the people that are hoping for just a redo of what Friday the 13th was in the 1980s are going to be sorely disappointed with what comes out of this show. This is an A24 driven project. Make no mistake, their hope and their need, in fact, is to appeal to a wider audience base. As far as we know, the tone for Crystal Lake is supposed to be darker, grittier, more grounded than anything we've gotten from Friday the 13th in the past. And in my opinion, I think that is an excellent idea. I think it's the right move. I don't think you can go back and just do the same thing over again and expect it to work. You need to give everyone something new. So give Zachary a chance. Give the tone of the show a chance. And I know there's people out there saying that it's going to be just a campy tone and a redo of what we've already gotten. All our information says there's no truth to that whatsoever. So comment down below and share your thoughts on all this. Hulk Hogan's passing, your frustration or maybe lack thereof when Hellraiser gets a story game and Halloween's just going to be getting an asymmetrical horror game, likely from Gunn. And more specifically, your thoughts on Zachary Branch being cast as the new adult Jason actor. By the way, he might not be the only person playing adult Jason in the show, as well as the tone of this series being different than what we got from earlier Friday the 13th movies. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. Check out our Patreon for bonus content available over at patreon.com/The Mask of Fear. The link is down in the description below. We would appreciate the support. Thank you to our channel sponsors, Ryan over at Colleague Nation, Jesse at Jesse's Storytime Spectacular, and the one and only Jason over at Backtrack Cinema. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here, as well as our patrons. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see all of you Tuesday night for The Mask of Fear Live.